Hello, this is Dr. Preeti Avari. I am an anatomist and I'm starting with my series of lectures on histology, microscopic structure of various organs in our body. Today's topic is epithelium. So let us begin with the first topic, epithelium. The epithelium or epithelial tissue covers the body and lines the inner and outer surfaces of the organs and body cavities. So definitely this epithelium is made up of cells. The cells are tightly packed with a very little intercellular substance in between them. These cells lie on a thin basement membrane which separates the epithelium from underlying connective tissue. Epithelium is made up of live cells, but it is avascular. So, how the cells will get their nutrition? Cells are getting nutrition from the blood vessels present in the connective tissue underlying the epithelium with the help of diffusion. The epithelial cells have good capacity to regenerate, so they can undergo mitosis and replace damaged cells present within the epithelium. Now, epithelium is part of mucosa. So, you should know what is mucosa. The epithelium is moistened by secretions of mucus gland present in the epithelium or in the glands of lamina propria. Together, they are called as mucosa. Now, this epithelium at various locations is derived from different germ layers embryologically. At the time of formation of embryo, first the three germ layers are formed: ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. So, various epitheliums are derived from various germ layers. Let us say, for example, the epidermis of the skin is derived from ectoderm. The lining epithelium of our digestive system, as epithelium of esophagus, epithelium of stomach, large intestine, small intestine, epithelium of your alveoli of the lung, the epithelium of trachea, they are derived from endoderm. And the lining epithelium of the blood vessels, that is endothelium, it is derived from mesoderm. What are the functions of epithelium? It acts as a protection and barrier. Let us say example for this is epidermis of the skin, where the epithelium, here the cells are multiple, they are arranged in multiple layers. So they will prevent passes of some germs deep to the dermis. They will also help in protection of our body from some mechanical injuries. They also help or they act as a barrier. So it will prevent direct damage to the underlying tissue by sunlight. And also the epidermis will not absorb water, so we will never bloat. So it acts as a protective barrier. Some epithelial cells, some epithelial cells are having absorptive function as they will absorb many nutrients after digestion. So digestion occurs into the GIT. So cells starting from the small intestine, jejunum, ileum. Here, the lining epithelial cells of the mucosa of jejunum and ileum, they will absorb various nutrients. Some cells has got secretory functions in the epithelium. So there are variety of glands present in our body. They could be endocrine gland, they could be exocrine gland. There are some glands in the stomach called as gastric gland. There are some intestinal gland. So even the pancreas or let us say thyroid gland, all of them, they are lined by epithelial cells, and that epithelium is secretory in nature. Some epithelial cells has got selective permeability. They are permeable to very peculiar kind of chemicals, as the epidermis of the skin. It is permeable to the substances which can dissolve in lipid soluble substances. So we apply some ointments. So those ointments, their base will be formed by lipid. So the chemical in that ointment can be absorbed in the skin. Alveoli of the lung, they are permeable only to the carbon dioxide and oxygen. Endothelial cells lining the blood vessels will be selectively permeable to certain kind of chemicals. And you can see the urothelium of excretory system. Actually, it will not permit anything to pass deep to it. So it is non-permeable to any substance. Nothing from the cavity of urinary bladder or lumen of the urinary bladder can enter into the deeper substance deep to the urothelium. So it is non-permeable. The urothelium is non-permeable to any chemicals. As these chemicals present in the urine, they might be harmful. The urine is what? What is it? It is the excretory product. So some of the metabolic waste products will be present in urine and they can damage the underlying tissue in the urinary bladder, in the ureter. So to prevent that, urothelium will act as totally impermeable. Some epithelial cells are modified into some epithelial cells are modified into sensory receptors as they act as a specialized sense organs as the cells of the test bud. The test buds are present into the papillae, various kinds of papillae present on the tongue. So, there are circumvallate papillae, there are foliate papillae, there are fungiform papillae. The core of the papilla will be formed by connective tissue, and the outer epithelium covering it will have test buds. So, there will be some cells in the test buds, and they will be innervated by sensory nerve ending. So, cells in the test bud will act as sensory epithelial cells. Some epithelial cells group will act as excretory, having excretory function. How? In the nephron, you have proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle collecting tubule. Here, cells are going to excrete some chemicals into the forming urine. The urine will be formed in the nephron. So, some chemicals from the blood will be taken by cells of PCT, DCT, CT, loop of Henle, and they will be excreted inside the urine present in the nephron. So, some cells will act as excretory cells, specifically the cells of the nephron of kidney. So, we have seen what is epithelium. We also saw what are the functions of epithelium. Now, we'll see classification of the epithelium. Epithelium can be classified into simple epithelium and stratified epithelium. There is a third classification that is pseudostratified epithelium. Simple epithelium can again be divided into simple squamous epithelium, simple cuboidal epithelium, simple columnar epithelium. Stratified epithelium can be divided into stratified squamous epithelium, stratified cuboidal epithelium, stratified columnar epithelium, and transitional epithelium. The simple columnar epithelium can be divided into only simple columnar epithelium or simple columnar epithelium with microvilli and simple columnar epithelium with cilia. Pseudostratified epithelium can be divided into pseudostratified epithelium with cilia and pseudostratified epithelium with stereocilia. We can see goblet cells in the pseudostratified epithelium with cilia. The simple epithelium, what does it mean? In the simple epithelium, there will be only one row of cells and base of all cell will lie on the basement membrane. So there is a single row of cells present which is forming the epithelium. Now in this picture you can see this is one cell. This is the apical surface of the cell and the base of the cell is touching to the basement membrane. So this is the simplest definition of simple epithelium. Simple squamous epithelium. So the picture which you saw just now is of simple squamous epithelium. Here the cells are arranged like a pavement if you see from above. In the section when we see the slide under microscope, the breadth of the cell is more than the height. That means the cells are flat. And there will be a single nucleus. It will be spherical, present in the center, and it will be bulging out from the center. So in this picture you can see all the features. The breadth of the cell is more than the height. If you see the nucleus here, it is being drawn small, but there you can see the bigger nuclei, the rounded big nuclei, like here it's being shown. The spherical nucleus present in the center, and it appears as if it is bulging out. So this is a simple squamous epithelium. The cells are flattened. Location: the simple squamous epithelium you can get into the mesothelium, lining pleura and peritoneum. It will also line the endothelium of the blood vessels. It is seen in the epithelial lining of alveoli of the lung. Simple squamous epithelium is also present in the parietal layer of Bowman's capsule of nephron of a kidney. The major function of simple squamous epithelium is it helps in passage of substances or chemicals by diffusion and filtration, as it is a single layer of cells. Next simple epithelium is simple cuboidal epithelium. The height of the cells and breadth of the cell are same. If you see the height and if you see the breadth, they are same. Again, there will be only one nucleus in the center, and that nucleus will be spherical. So these are cuboidal cells. Now this is a 2D picture, so you can see only the base of the cell, the apical surface of the cell, and two lateral surfaces. You can't see other two lateral or other four lateral surfaces. So if it is a cube, there will be two more surfaces. So the cells will be cubical and all sides are same. And there will be a single nucleus in the center. Where can we get this simple cuboidal epithelium? In the germinal epithelium covering the ovary. If you see the thyroid gland, the gland is made up of ball-like structure called as thyroid follicle. The epithelium lining this thyroid follicle will be simple cuboidal. It is a secretory epithelium. It will secrete hormones of the thyroid gland. Proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubule of kidney. They are lined by simple cuboidal cells. Here the cells will be secretory and few cells will be absorptive. The very small ducts of the salivary gland, the intercalated ducts of the salivary gland, will be lined by simple cuboidal epithelium. At some places it will be secretory, at some other places it will be absorptive, and at some places it will be excretory in function, depending on in which organ this epithelium is lining. Simple columnar epithelium. As the picture shows, the height of the cells is more. This is the height of the cell, which is more than the breadth of the cell. The width of the cell is less, height is more. A single nucleus present in the center and it is oval or elongated. And more or less it is trying to be present at the base. This epithelium is present in the lining epithelium of mucosa of the stomach. It will have secretory function and absorptive function. The modification, simple columnar epithelium with microvilli. What are microvilli? Microvilli, these are the extensions of the cytoplasm. The core is formed by cytoplasm, and in that core of cytoplasm, actin filaments will be present, and that extension will be covered by plasma membrane. So, in this picture, you can see on the apical surface, this is the plasma membrane which is folded, and they look like finger like projections coming out from the cell. Inside, the core will be formed by cytoplasm of the cell, and in that cytoplasm, actin filaments are present. This gives appearance that it helps in increasing the surface area of apical surface of the cell. So definitely it will help in absorption. So these kind of cells are present into the intestine, lining the small intestine. Simple columnar epithelium with microvilli. So you can see a single layer of cells, the columnar cells, and at the apical surface, microvilli are present. We can't see microvilli under low power. Under low power, instead of microvilli, we can see a thick line on the apical surface which is eosinophilically stained. It will appear eosinophilic, a thick line. If we try to see it under 40x, we might see microvilli. So, these microvilli will increase the surface area of the cell for absorption of the nutrients in the intestine. Simple columnar epithelium with cilia. What are cilia? Cilia are the surface evaginations which help in propulsion of fertilized ovum towards the uterine cavity. This is one example. What are cilia? The cilia are coming out from the plasma membrane. What are they made up of? Cilia are made up of microtubules. The microtubules are present in the cytoplasm of a cell. So these microtubules, they will join with each other to form a hair-like filament which extends out from the plasma membrane. And these cilia can be beaten. They can beat to one side. So when they beat, they will try to push the fertilized ovum towards the uterine cavity. That means this kind of epithelium, simple columnar epithelium with cilia, will be present in the fallopian tube, lining the mucosa of the fallopian tube. Cilia can also be seen into the trachea. It can be seen into the principal bronchus. So it can be seen in the lining epithelium of respiratory system, you can see, where it helps in capturing the mucus, keeping the mucus in position. It also helps in beating the mucus out so that along with mucus, the dust particle or microbes, whatever is being captured into the mucosa, can be expelled out by coughing. So cilia are different from microvilli. Microvilli are surface modification of the plasma membrane and cytoplasm, but cilia itself are made up of microtubules. They will have the same arrangement like 9 plus 2, which is seen in the centriole. So cilia are bigger in size. If you see the length of the cilia, they are more elongated compared to the microvilli. And their core is not formed by cytoplasm. They are made up of microtubules. And again, there is a difference between cilia and stereocilia. So we'll see later on what are stereocilia. So we have finished with the simple epithelium. Now the special epithelium, that is pseudostratified columnar epithelium. The name itself tells that it is pseudostratified. That means it is not stratified. That means it is a simple epithelium. But what happens? The height of the cells is different. Some cells are small, some cells are heighted. So it is again a single layer of cells present here, a single row of cells. Base of all the cells will lie on the basement membrane. But The height of the cells is different. Some cells are short and some are heightened. Nuclei of the nuclei of small cells are towards the base and nuclei of heighted cells, they are at higher level in the cell. This gives striated appearance to the epithelium. That's why it is called as pseudostratified epithelium. So if you see this diagram in the picture, you can see there are some cells more in height, some cells are short, again some cells bigger, some smaller. What are the small cells? The short cells will act as stem cells. They will help in mitosis and formation of the cells again. So pseudostratified epithelium, in this you will see the basis of all the cells are touching to the basement membrane, but some cells are bigger, some cells are smaller in size. So the first type in this it will be pseudostratified columnar pseudostratified columnar epithelium with cilia with goblet cell. So this is a pseudostratified epithelium. On top of the bigger cell, the heightened cell, cilia will be present. In between goblet cells are present. Goblet cell is a unicellular gland. Their shape is like a goblet. That's why we call it as goblet cell. The nucleus will be present at the base and the upper portion will be completely filled with the vesicles which are filled with mucosa or mucus. Sorry, not mucosa, mucus. And that mucus is given out which helps in which acts as a protective layer and that mucus is traveling on the surface of the epithelium. So this kind of epithelium will be present in the respiratory system. It is both secretory and protective. It is secreting the mucus and it protects the underlying tissue with the help of the mucus covering it. So the mucus secreted by the goblet cells protect the tract from foreign particles by trapping them. Cilia are the surface modification. They are the motile evagination from the cell surfaces. They are the extensions from the apical surface of the cells with a core of microtubule arranged vertically in circular fashion. They can move from base towards the apex, which can help in clearing the mucus out of the respiratory tract, which is secreted by the goblet cells. They will propel the fluid present on the surface in a particular direction. The other type is pseudostratified columnar epithelium with stereocilia. That means in this epithelium, same cells will be present, like some cells are smaller, some cells their height is more, but instead of cilia, we can see stereocilia. This epithelium has got absorptive function. What are stereocilia? The stereocilia are long microvilli, elongated microvilli, which help in absorption of the fluid secreted by seminal vesicles and prostate and carried in the tract. They are present in the lining epithelium of epididymis and vas deferens in male genital tract. So we have finished with the simple epithelium. Now we'll start with the compound or stratified epithelium. In the stratified epithelium, there will be more than two layers of cells. So one on the other, the cells are stacked. So there will be multiple layers of cells present. Only the basis of the cells in the deepest layer will touch to the basement membrane. And we know there are various types of stratified epithelium. So name to the epithelium is given depending on the shape of the cells present in the superficial most layer. So in the superficial most layer, if the cells are flat, we will call it as stratified squamous epithelium. If the cells in the top layer are cuboidal, we will call it as stratified cuboidal epithelium, like that. So what are the types? Stratified squamous epithelium, keratinized or non-keratinized. Stratified cuboidal epithelium, stratified columnar epithelium, transitional epithelium or urothelium. First, stratified squamous epithelium. The cells in the topmost layer are squamous in shape. The types are keratinized and non-keratinized. Stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. Here, the cells in the deepest layer are columnar. So if you see the deep layer, now in this picture, let us try to understand. This is the basement membrane, and the cells present in the deeper layer will be columnar. Here you can't see the cell outline because this is under low power, but the cell lining here will be columnar. Each cell will be columnar. That's why the nuclei are shown. These are the oval nuclei of the cells in the deeper layer. So columnar cells present in the deeper layer. Middle layer is made up of polygonal cells. So again here the nuclei are shown. So there are multiple layers of polygonal cells in the middle layer. And the uppermost layer cells will be flat. So here the nuclei are also shown flat. So the topmost layer is also made up of flat cells. And on top keratin is present. Okay. So this is the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. The cells in the superficial layer will contain keratin protein. These cells are dead. This epithelium, obviously, it is present in the epidermis of the skin. So its function is it will act as a barrier against infection by bacteria, viruses. It will provide protection against any kind of mechanical injury to the skin, and it will prevent the excessive water loss. Also, it is impermeable to water, so water can't enter inside the body because of this layer. Stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Cells in the deeper layer, again you can see they are columnar. The cells in the middle layer are polygonal, and the topmost layer cells are squamous. Where is this epithelium present? Stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Again, you can't see keratin here, that's why the word non-keratinized or non-keratinizing. Lining epithelium, where too much of wear and tear is happening, like we sometimes take ice cream, sometimes we take tea. We sometimes will take very hot chocolate, sometimes we just take cold coffee. So continuously your epithelium is under stress of temperature. So continuous wear and tear is happening. So instead of stratified epithelium, if the esophagus, if the oral cavity is lined by simple epithelium, that epithelium will die immediately and it can lead to injury to the underlying tissue. There will be burning of the underlying tissue. To prevent that, the whole of the oral cavity, tongue, esophagus, oral mucosa are lined by stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Other things like cornea is lined by this epithelium. The lining epithelium of vagina and the lining epithelium of anal canal are also made up of stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. It acts as a barrier and provides protection against mechanical injuries. Stratified cuboidal epithelium. Here you can see only maximum two layers of epithelial cells. In both layers, the cells will be cuboidal, and this epithelium will be seen into the ducts of some glands as sweat gland, salivary gland. Then if you see the primary follicle of the ovary, the epithelium of the primary follicle of the ovary, that will be cuboidal, stratified cuboidal epithelium. The epithelium lining the conjunctiva will be stratified cuboidal epithelium. Stratified columnar epithelium, that is also two-layered epithelium. Here the cells are columnar. The cells at the base, cells at the top will be columnar. It is seen in large ducts of the exocrine glands as parotid gland, as the submandibular gland. So in them, if you see the larger ducts of the mammary gland, they will be lined by the stratified columnar epithelium. This epithelium acts as a passage, so it acts as a conduit which is carrying some secretions from the gland to the exterior. It also acts as a barrier and it also has got a protective function. Transitional epithelium. This epithelium is also called as urothelium as it is going to line the pelvis of the kidney, the ureter, urinary bladder, prostatic part of urethra. It is stratified and it has got a capacity to stretch. So in this epithelium, this is not stretched, so that you can see at least 6 to 7 layers. So 7 to 8 layers of cells are present in this, but when it is stretched, you can see only 4 layers of cells. Let us try to understand this epithelium. The basal cells are cuboidal or columnar. So in this picture, you can see the basement membrane. On basement membrane, the cells are columnar. Middle cells are pear-shaped. In between, the cells are pear-shaped. Cells in the superficial most layer are dome-shaped. So you can see the cells in the uppermost layer, they are quite bigger. Even under low power, if you try to see, and under 40x, you can see it very nicely, very clearly. The cells are dome-shaped, the big shell cells. They look like umbrella, so we can also call them as umbrella cells or dome-shaped cells. And the cells in between are also quite big. The polygonal cells, they look like pear-shaped cells and they are quite big cells. Sometimes you can see the cells are binucleated. Sometimes we can see two nuclei in a single cell. The luminal surface will be covered by protective proteinaceous layer in urinary bladder and it appears eosinophilic. In relaxed state, it is 6 to 7 layer thick and in stretched state, it is 3 to 4 layer thick. It is protective, stretchable. It will not secrete anything. It will not absorb anything. This is a typical feature of transitional epithelium. It is impermeable to salt and water. So we have reached to the end of the PowerPoint. I hope you understood epithelium. Thank you.